Hey YouTubers, just wanted to check in and show you how I made these awesome pony ears. I didn't feel like wearing my horn today, sorry. uh, First thing I did when I was trying to figure out what to use was I sculpted just pony ears, if I can hold them the right way, pony ears, out of just regular air dry clay. I wanted to just get basic shapes, take a look at it. I was looking into casting them and a lot of different options. These are obviously too heavy to wear. What I found that works best for me is Crayola Model Magic. It's not horribly inexpensive, but it does work well if you know how to use it. It does take a little bit of trial and error. So what I did was I created these. They're little inserts. They fit into the ear that I had made here. And I covered them in plastic, and this is what I based the shape of my ear around. So the insides of all my ears are pretty much the same. I have several of those little cones made, so I'm able to do more than one pair at once, or more than one ear at once even. So I'm going to show you how to take that original to a blank, to painted, and then to the finished product here. I put my ears on a headband because it's the most comfortable for me. It's not a really tight headband, but it does stay secure. Obviously, I can move around and I can shake my head, and there's no problems at all with it falling off. It doesn't seem like it would be super sturdy, but I actually prefer this to the elastic method, or just clipping it into your hair, because if your hair moves ever so slightly, or if it isn't glued in place, those ears can wobble everywhere. So let's take a look and I'll show you how I did this. Okay, so I've finally got my little table set up, and what I'm using here is Crayola Model Magic, like I said earlier. It dries super lightweight and it's really pliable and easy to use. Things to remember are that it's susceptible to gravity, and because it's susceptible to gravity, that's why I make the little inserts to go inside. I've got two here. They're about the same size. I made several. These are my male ones, which just means that I used the ear that I had and then I made it longer, just kind of made it stick out and let that dry. Something to keep in mind when you're planning on doing this is that it takes about 24 hours for it to cure, but to get to the full hardness that this clay gets to, it takes about 3 days. And in that time, I would not touch them at all. So when you're starting off, you're just going to knead it, and you want to knead it till it looks really smooth. Obviously it doesn't look really smooth right now because it's covered in my handprints, but there you go. And this is kind of how it breaks off. It sticks to itself, which is what makes it so nice. You don't have to use water, you don't have to use anything else. So from there, I'm going to roll it into a ball, and then I'm going to flatten that ball out. Keep in mind you want to work on an incredibly smooth surface, because this clay will pick up every impression that it can. From there, I take my ball, or my flattened ball rather, and kind of start making a triangle-like shape. I'm just pushing and nudging it. There is no perfection in this. That's kind of what makes it fun. Every ear, every set of ears is an individual. There is no cookie cutter. And because of that, your pony, or if you're making it for a cat or anything like that, has more flexibility and more individuality within the actual character. So here I've made kind of like a pizza shape, and from there I'm going to lay it over my ear template. Now when I'm doing this, I'm trying to get it to sit flat, so I'm going to pat it down so I get that flat bottom, and then I'm going to start just messing with it a little bit. I want to make sure that my sides are fairly even. This doesn't matter if it's a boy pony or a girl pony. And the other thing to remember is that I want there to be a small curvature in the top part of it. That curvature kind of tells you whether it's right or left. It gives it a little bit more character than if it was just a straight point at the top. And the other thing that I try to keep in mind is from the side, I don't want it to be really full right here. The ears get thinner as they get towards the top of the ear. That's kind of just most animals. Even dog ears that hang down are thinner at the end than they are at the base. So, and then I just start smoothing this out. I'm going to get my tip to look really nice right there. And I'm kind of comparing these when I'm making this one to ones that I've made previously. This is a set of boy ears. You can see that it's a lot thicker and it's also taller. I measured these on a couple of my guy friends to see how it stacked up versus these ones that are a little bit more delicate. They're harder to see because they're white. A little bit more delicate and thinner than them, and they're also a little bit shorter. They look a lot nicer on girls' head. So going back to this, and you don't have to work incredibly fast. Like I said, it takes 24 hours for it to cure, so it's not going to start drying instantly once you start working with it. So here we are. I have my first ear. I want to just curve that part up a little bit more. And I'm kind of comparing it to that one. It looks like it's about the same in height. It's not quite as thick, but I think it still looks nice. These are obviously for Big Mac, and I think he's kind of burlier, so I went ahead and made his super thick. And from there you just set it aside. I like to set mine aside at I like to set mine aside at first, if I can get it to do it, laying this way, so that the clay can kind of cure in this shape, and then stand it up so that the front sides can cure. So I'll just set it aside over here, and it's time to do it again. So I'm going to grab another bit of clay, and from here I'm going to go ahead and fast forward the video, probably with some funny music, just so you don't have to hear me talking and all of that. Alright, so as you can see, it doesn't take much to make them, although I have had a lot of practice now. The important thing to remember when you are making them, and I'll show you on the red ones because they're easier to see on the camera, is that this curve, it doesn't go the same on both ears. They curve inwards, so make sure you have one of each. Beyond that, something that I don't have to worry about too much because I made those inserts is that the bottom of my ears is about the same size, and I know that the inside is exactly the same size because it came from the same mold. So there is that to consider. So like I said, you're going to set these aside, and from there you can keep rubbing out any creases you may see, or if it kind of turns out funny, you can keep rubbing that out over the next 24 hours. Set them on a very flat surface that doesn't have any texture to it, unless you want texture on your ears, because they will take anything. Do not put them on wax paper, as I have found out. The wax paper wrinkles from the moisture leaving the clay, and it gives your ears a very wrinkled look to them. So 3 days later you'll have something like this. It is no longer squishy at all. It's very, very, very lightweight. Kind of weighs the same as like a handful of marshmallows, maybe. It's kind of the best thing I can compare it to. And there may be cracks, but those will cover up with a little bit of paint and sealer. Or another thing to do is you can always stick a little bit more clay on there and just kind of smooth it into the cracks. The clay does stick to itself, which is why I have to cover these with plastic, because otherwise I would just make a solid ear. So from here you can paint it with acrylic paint, which is what I did here. This is just the standard cheapy paint that you can get at the craft store. Like I said, it's acrylic. It comes in different types. I just get the flat acrylic paint, nothing fancy about it, in whatever color I want to use, or I mix my own personal color. And from there, to get this finish, these are girl ears, and I decided that girls are pretty and sparkly, and so the ears should be pretty and sparkly. So I use Mod Podge to seal them. This is the sparkly one. It's called Sparkle. So there you go. Get it right there. Otherwise, for boy ears, I just use your regular type of Mod Podge, which can be right there. It's just gloss. You don't have to make it glossy, it's just kind of what I like to do. Because I think it looks nice and it gives it a nice finish. It also makes them a little bit more resistant to everything. Things to remember are that Mod Podge can get tacky in extreme heat, so don't let them sit right next to each other if they have Mod Podge on them, even after it's dried and cured and everything, because they can get stuck together. Heat's funny like that. Other than that, I use E6000, and these are just regular old headbands. You can get these at the craft store. They're just blank headbands. These ones are glossy, and they're maybe almost a ½ inch thick. You can get thicker ones if you want. And then I use the E6000. I just mark where I want it to fit. I've noticed that about this measurement, which is 3½ inches or so, works on pretty much everybody. Unless somebody has an extremely large head or an extremely small head, would that be a different case. But I even put these ears on a baby and they looked really, really cute. So there you go. This is how I make ears. I'll put a picture on the end of this of me and a couple of my pony friends. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Other than that, I understand that not everybody is this crafty or wants to take the time to do this. Obviously, they do take some time to make. Just because there's several steps to it, you know, it's a couple days for your hard clay model, and then it's 3 days till you have a workable inner model, and then it's another 3 days till your blank is done, and then another day for your paint to fully cure and be absorbed into the clay, and then another day after that. So it does take some time, and I understand that. Because of that, I will be offering these on an Etsy shop. I'm still setting it up right now, but if you are interested, please feel free to contact me, and I'd be happy to help you out. Look for that Etsy shop to be up within the next 2 weeks, hopefully having it up before WonderCon, which will be Easter weekend, April 18th through the 20th, where I'll be premiering my pony ears in my Twilight Sparkle cosplay. I'll be there along with Fluttershy, Big Mac, and Flash Sentry. So look out for us there. Thanks for tuning in, and feel free to comment and ask questions below.